How do and differ in JavaScript logical operators? Imagine you're trying to decide what value to use in your code, and you have two different ways to check. One is like asking if something is true or false, and the other is more specific about whether a value is really missing. Today, we're going to explore how these two operators, the double vertical bar and the double question mark, work differently in JavaScript. Let's start with the double vertical bar, which is called the logical OR operator. It checks each value from left to right. If it finds a value that is considered true, it stops and returns that value. But if all values are false, it returns the last one. Think of it as asking, is this value true? If not, move on to the next. It treats all falsy values as triggers to move to the next, including false, 0, empty string, null, undefined, and none. For example, if you write let name is equal to or guessed, the empty string is falsy, so it will give you guessed. This makes it handy for setting default values when variables might be empty or false. Now the double question mark, called the nullish coalescing operator, works a bit differently. It only looks at whether the value is null or undefined. If the first value is null or undefined, it gives you the second value. But if the first value is 0, false, or an empty string, it keeps that value. For example, if you have let count is equal to 0 or 10, using 0, 10 will give you 0 because 0 is not null or undefined. It's perfect when you want to allow falsy values like 0 or false but still want to assign a default if the value is missing entirely. So, the main difference is in what they consider as triggers. The OR operator returns the right side if the left is any falsy value. The nullish coalescing operator only does so if the left is null or undefined. This difference is very useful in web development when you want to set default values. If you want to treat all falsy values as needing a fallback, use the OR operator. But if you want to keep 0 or false as valid inputs and only provide defaults for missing values, the nullish coalescing operator is your best choice. For example, if you have a user score set to 0 and want to keep that 0, using 0, 100 will give you 0. But if you use 0, 100, it will give you 100 because 0 is falsy. Understanding these differences helps you write more precise code and avoid bugs. So next time you're setting defaults or checking values, remember how these two operators differ and choose the right one for your situation.